Tonight, another big loss for Hillary Clinton. Congressman, civil rights icon, and one-time Clinton superdelegate John Lewis switches allegiance to Barack Obama. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, close your eyes, kids. This may sting a little. A government panel is now recommending that virtually every child in America get a flu shot. Their products are made for adults. Now they're accused of marketing them to teenagers. And he was the father of modern conservatism and one of its strongest voices.
The best friend of individual freedom is the conservatives.
The death today of William F. Buckley, Jr.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. Another blow today to the Clinton campaign. She has lost 11 straight primaries and caucuses to Barack Obama. And now, 6 days before their next big showdown, Clinton has lost a very important supporter. Congressman John Lewis of Georgia switched sides today. He is now backing Obama. Jim Axelrod is in St. Clairsville, Ohio tonight. And Jim, how tough a loss is this for Senator Clinton?
Well, Katie, this isn't some unknown, uncommitted superdelegate coming out for Obama. This is a senior Democrat, a party icon, and he's switching his support from Clinton to Obama.
It's a serious blow for Hillary Clinton. Congressman John Lewis, a longtime friend of the Clintons, one of America's most prominent African-American politicians who marched with Martin Luther King, told an Atlanta TV station he switched because his district voted for Obama.
This man, this Senator Barack Obama, somehow in some way, he's been able to emerge to carry the hopes and dreams and aspiration of millions of people.
4 months ago, it was quite a different story. All hugs for Hillary Clinton and words he would certainly like to have back now.
Without reservation or any hesitation, I am prepared to endorse Senator Hillary Clinton to be the Democratic nominee.
The reservations he's now expressing follow endorsements for Obama from 2 U.S. senators who'd been on the fence. North Dakota's Byron Dorgan today, and Connecticut's Chris Dodd yesterday. The Democratic Party establishment seems like it's trying to tell Clinton something.
That has to be a message that signals to her that it's time to leave this race. There's no other way to look at it.
Not unless you're Hillary Clinton, who had on a brave face today.
You know, what keeps me optimistic is, the success I've had thus far and what I think the prospects are for Tuesday.
Clinton staffers say that Lewis switched under enormous pressure from the Obama campaign. One senior Clinton aide told me, quote, "I can't imagine just how hard it must have been for him." Katie?
All right, Jim Axelrod. Jim, thanks a lot. Last night, Senators Clinton and Obama faced off in Cleveland in their final televised debate before the Ohio and Texas primaries. Here's Jeff Greenfield.
Usually when a debate ends, the cliches begin to fly. Rivals clash. The gloves wore off. But last night, Senator Obama adopted a very different approach, killing with kindness. He hit this theme early when Clinton was asked about a potential embarrassment. Did her campaign circulate a photo of Obama in African garb?
And I certainly know nothing about it and have made clear that that's not the kind of behavior that I condone or expect from the people working in my campaign.
Obama's response?
First of all, I take Senator Clinton at her word that she knew nothing about the photo, so I think that's something that we can set aside.
And that set the tone for the night. When Senator Clinton tried to attack Obama on health care,
Senator Obama's plan does not cover everyone. It would leave, give or take, 15 million people out.
Obama said,
I have consistently said that Senator Clinton's got a good health care plan. I think I have a good health care plan. I think mine is better. But I've said that 95% of our health care plan is similar.
When she accused Obama of not holding hearings on Afghanistan, Obama, in effect, conceded the point.
Well, first of all, I became chairman of this committee at the beginning of this campaign, at the beginning of 2007. So it is true that we haven't had oversight hearings on Afghanistan.
And it wasn't just the language. In the body language as well, Obama reflected the confidence of a player who held the high cards. For her part, Clinton's frustration was evident in her attack on the debate format itself.
I seem to get the first question all the time, and I don't mind. I'll be happy to field them, but I do find it curious. And if anybody saw Saturday Night Live, maybe we should ask Barack if he's comfortable and needs another pillow.
Perhaps the most dramatic example of Obama's approach came when Clinton pressed him after he denounced, but did not explicitly reject, support from Nation of Islam head Louis Farrakhan.
But I just think we've got to be even stronger. We cannot let anyone in any way say these things because of the implications that they have, which can be so far-reaching.
Obama's response?
I don't see a difference between denouncing and rejecting, but if the word reject, Senator Clinton feels is stronger than the word denounce, then I'm happy to concede the point. And I would reject and denounce.
Good, good.
There may be a metaphor here for this whole campaign where Clinton began far, far ahead and now finds herself fighting to survive. When this campaign began, Katie, Obama was a very unimpressive debater. He seems far more comfortable now in this format. It's really amazing what 11 straight primary wins will do for your confidence.
Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, thank you. And a line, by the way, from the debate had John McCain and Barack Obama trading barbs today. Last night, Obama repeated his pledge to withdraw U.S. troops from Iraq, but said he'd send them back, quote, if al-Qaeda is forming a base in Iraq. Today, McCain jumped on that, and Obama answered right back.
I have news for Senator Obama. Al-Qaeda is in Iraq, and that's why we're fighting in Iraq, and that's why we're succeeding in Iraq.
I have some news for John McCain, and that is that there was no such thing as al-Qaeda in Iraq until George Bush and John McCain decided to invade Iraq.
That back and forth could be a preview of what's to come in the fall campaign between McCain and either Obama or Clinton. Now to important health news. Earlier this week, we reported on the growing risk of contracting illnesses through contaminated vials and syringes at doctors' offices. Tonight, there's word that as many as 40,000 people may have been exposed to hepatitis C and other dangerous illnesses when they were injected with anesthesia at a clinic in Las Vegas. Health officials are urging anyone who visited the Endoscopy Center of Southern Nevada in the past 4 years to be tested for hepatitis C, B, and HIV. And there is news tonight about kids and the flu, a recommendation that almost every child in America now get a flu shot. Right now, it's recommended for children 5 and under. But a CDC advisory committee today voted to raise the age to 18. It's not recommended for infants younger than 6 months. All this as this season's devastating flu outbreak has now reached all 50 states. Here's Dr. John LaPook.
That's it, baby. Today, a surge in the war on flu, which kills 36,000 people every year.
The committee's vote today was to reduce the illness, the loss of work that the parents suffer when they have to stay home with their children, or children missing school or having to see the doctor or take medications.
By targeting all kids, not just those under 5, an additional 30 million children will be vaccinated.
It looks great.
So far this year, 24 children under 18 have died from the flu, about the same as in the last 3 years. Many more, up to 30% of kids, get it and spread it, especially to older people for whom it's a more serious, potentially deadly illness.
They spread the virus through the community, give it to their parents, their uncles, their aunts, their neighbors, the little babies. So they will, by being protected, protect others around them at the same time.
There are 2 forms of flu vaccine, a shot and a mist that's sprayed into the nose.
This is a big recommendation. It's going to happen gradually. We'll see greater and greater compliance over time.
Vaccine manufacturers say they're ready to meet the increased demand, but it will take a couple of years to get the vaccine out to all the people who need it.
And John, you so often hear, I know you as a doctor hear from your patients, they don't want to get the flu vaccine because they're afraid it will give them the flu.
Katie, that is the single biggest misconception my patients have about these vaccines. It does not give you the flu. It can give you a little bit of fever, some aches and pains, but those generally resolve in about a day, after which you've got some protection against the potentially very serious illness.
Yeah, absolutely. John LaPook, Dr. LaPook, thank you very much. Now to the CBS News Money Watch. Oil hits a record high, the dollar a record low. The price of oil shot up above $102 a barrel today for the first time ever before falling back to close at $99.64. And the dollar fell to a record low against the euro. It now takes $1.50 to buy 1 euro. Anthony Mason now on the battered buck.
With the dollar taking a nosedive against European currencies, New York antique dealer Billy Leroy made a business decision.
Where are you from?
He started accepting euros.
When a European walks in and he sees the sign, it helps to complete the sale, which is the ultimate goal.
The declining dollar is just one of the worries facing Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke, who painted a bleak picture of the economy for Congress today.
The incoming information continues to suggest sluggish economic activity in the near term.
New home sales were worse than sluggish. They fell nearly 3% last month to the lowest level in 13 years. The Northeast, down more than 10%, took the biggest hit. Sales also dropped in the Midwest and the South. Only the West showed a modest gain. Oil, meanwhile, is headed the other way, leading a surge in inflation.
Restaurants, gas, grocery stores, even Walmart. Everything has gone up.
We sit on the precipice of stagflation.
Stagflation, that's inflation occurring during an economic slowdown, something we haven't experienced since the 1970s.
Will we see stagflation? I don't know. Let's just say it's a very real possibility.
The Fed's official mission is to fight inflation, usually by raising interest rates. But this time there may be little Ben Bernanke can do.
He can worry about it, but it won't do him much good. It's sort of like me worrying about getting old. I can worry about it, but I can't fix it. He can't fix inflation.
Because at the moment, avoiding a recession is more important. That's why it's widely expected the Fed will cut interest rates again when it meets next month. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
And there is much more CBS News ahead. Coming up next, kids under the influence of advertisers. Critics charge alcohol and tobacco companies are targeting teens. Despite all the health warnings, a lot of teens still smoke and drink. In one survey, 1 in 10 kids between 12 and 17 admitted smoking cigarettes in the past month, and nearly 1 in 5 between the ages of 12 and 20 admitted to being, quote, binge drinkers. Now there are new allegations that some of the makers of alcohol and tobacco are marketing them to minors. Here's Randall Pinkston.
Peer pressure. What's that? Catchy advertising. Popular culture. America's youth are inundated with visual appeals to drink and smoke. While the alcohol and tobacco industries insist their products are aimed at adults, critics charge beverages like these and tobacco products like these now being sold across the country are tailor-made for teens. Fruit-flavored cigars and energy drinks with high caffeine and now a new twist, up to 9% alcohol.
Alcohol and caffeine are really double trouble when they're marketed to kids and when they create an illusion of alertness combined with the impairment of alcohol.
It's not only the content that worries critics, it's the marketing, from the names, Tilt, Sparks, Juice, to the colorful packaging and cartoon-like images.
Well, they are influencing younger kids. When they get older, they might be addicted to these things.
And that is what concerns prosecutors of 27 states and the District of Columbia, who are accusing breweries of promoting products which are highly attractive to underage youth. Anheuser-Busch refused our interview requests. Miller says it will fully cooperate with the Attorneys General's investigation. If the breweries don't comply, Attorneys General are threatening a lawsuit. Meanwhile, an anti-smoking organization says it wants tighter federal control of all tobacco products.
A very heavy percentage of the tobacco industry's marketing is targeted directly at non-smoking adolescents.
Matthew Myers heads Tobacco Free Kids, which issued a damning report against companies like R.J. Reynolds. 11 years ago, it was forced to drop its Joe Camel ads. Now, a new controversy, the use of high fashion to sell its Camel brand. R.J. Reynolds insists it's targeting women, not teens.
Despite what the colors look like, despite what the advertising says, the primary point is it's illegal to sell tobacco products to minors in all 50 states.
But critics say the problem is not the law, it's the message that can persuade teens to try drinking and smoking. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
In other news, Roger Clemens' troubles may be far from over. A congressional committee asked the Justice Department today to investigate whether the star pitcher lied when he testified under oath that he never used steroids or human growth hormone. The committee noted that Clemens was contradicted by former trainer Brian McNamee and pitcher Andy Pettitte. Coming up next, remembering a conservative icon who really had a way with words. Conservative commentator William F. Buckley Jr. died today. He was 82. It wasn't just what Buckley said, but how he said it. Slouched in a chair, ears twitching, eyes popping, tongue wagging, and that sesquipedalian vocabulary. He loved long words. Richard Schlesinger has a few words about him.
There's nothing better or more amusing than a theatrical pomposity.
William F. Buckley Jr. was always a little theatrical and frequently a little pompous.
William F. Buckley.
Just listen to him talking about the election of Ronald Reagan, a conservative standard-bearer he had championed in the pages of his magazine, The National Review.
Now that gives us a certain amount of, I think, perfectly normal biological satisfaction.
Rarely satisfied with one syllable when several more would do, Buckley was an intellectual godfather of the right wing, always ready to defend conservatism against liberals.
They are indulging in a false, lazy historical disjunction.
Buckley thrived at a time when political debates were conducted on a higher plane and at lower volume than today. It was less slash and burn, more thrust and parry.
When he debated with liberals, he did so with respect, with toleration, and with delicious barbs.
The editor of The Nation, a liberal magazine, disagreed with Buckley but found him agreeable.
We both had a respect for ideas as part of our politics. I think some of his ideas, many were cuckoo.
Buckley was very much a Renaissance man. He wrote more than 50 books and hosted a television show. He also sailed and painted, but his ideas are his legacy.
He was one of the great political thinkers.
Buckley's son said his father died at his desk. The National Review said on its website he died while at work, at home, still devoted to the war of ideas. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
And coming up next, a pioneer among black athletes and the secret he had to keep his job. We close now with an unsung pioneer in sports. You may not know the name Willie O'Ree, but as Byron Pitts reports, he's hockey's Jackie Robinson.
Kelly from Mahavlich. 50 years ago, pro hockey was a different kind of game. No one wore helmets. No blacks donned a National Hockey League uniform. That is until a 22-year-old Canadian named Willie O'Ree joined the Boston Bruins. I scored my first National League goal. He became the first black man ever to play in the NHL. O'Ree comes up over the Maple Leaf line.
The Bruin organization just said, Willie, they said, you're here because we think that you can add something to our club.
You weren't a diversity hire, you were just a good player.
Yeah, and you know, I just happened to be black.
And Boston went O'Ree. But in a sport whose complexion matched the color of the ice, O'Ree always skated a thin line.
I was faced with racism, prejudice, bigotry, and ignorance while I was playing.
Number 22 comes down the right wing. During one NHL game in 1961, an opponent knocked his teeth out.
He made a couple of racial remarks at me, but, well, you know, I hit him over the head with my stick, and then all hell broke loose.
O'Ree says he never used his fists to fight bigotry, just to earn respect. That night, they earned him something more: police protection.
Coach Milt Schmidt said, Willie, says, I'm fearful for bodily injury on you. So they had two police officers outside the dressing room.
I mean, in 1961, you might have been a pro hockey player, but in Chicago in 1961, you were still a black man who struck a white man.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
that gets you killed.
Yeah. Well, just watching the practice out here, it's really nice.
Today at 72, O'Ree is appreciated not just for the barrier he broke, Boss, he's a great guy, but for what he does with that distinction.
I love watching you.
Whether supporting the league's minority players, 12 of them black.
I think it definitely opens up your eyes, and to have someone like that you can look up to and you know, see firsthand, you know, things that he's gone through. And
Two hands, head up! Or touring the country as the NHL's director of diversity. Don't fight the puck. Tutoring thousands of youngsters each year on the moves of the game and the rules of life.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right.
Yet, for all that his story says about survival, the kids often focus on the least obvious, but perhaps most heroic detail.
When your right eye went blind, how could you still play hockey?
That's right. O'Ree played professional hockey blind in one eye. As an amateur, he was struck by a puck. A doctor said he'd never play again.
So I just said I'm going to prove him wrong.
He kept it a secret. No one else asked. He never told.
So I went out and played 21 years with one eye.
Just one more person who told you you couldn't.
Yeah.
O'Ree, down the ice.
And an inner voice that told him he could.
Good job.
A metaphor for life.
Good
His.
job. Good job.
And he hopes someday theirs.
Get your head up. Get your head up.
Byron Pitts, CBS News, Detroit.
Good job.
And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.